So, I thought Tufan was fabulous myself.
Yes.
And now even more fabulous. So as everyone knows, Patrick Botte has written almost all of the software we use for biofeedback, Flame in Mind, and also now we're using that for piezo fire, which Patrick helped create, and plasma fire, which Patrick helped create. Patrick has been with us for many years. He's a biofeedback specialist, sacrocranial specialist, tomatis specialist, osteopathic specialist, and he works with teams around the world. He also works with teams testing these devices on sensitive people to properly tune, like piezo fire, so we can actually tell when they feel it in your glands, etc., with plasma fire. So Patrick is going to do 2 talks, and this is the first one and very important. Patrick Botte.
Well, hello everybody, and thank you for coming and sharing with us all our research and all the work that Dan has done since many years now. And just as Dan has explained, I'm working on 2 different parts of the body. One part which is trying to extract some information from the body, always related to done research, and the other one is to send information to the body, and also when the information is reached the body, try to see what this information has done to the body. So there are 2 parts in my lectures, one today and one I think it's tomorrow.
Right.
So we will start today with mainly the part regarding the body frequency. What's happening inside the body, how the body is working, and on the next part we will, today, we will talk more about the different transducers that we are using to enter in resonance with the body. Since we have released the latest transducer, I have more and more questions, and the question are, what can I do, how can I do it, what should I use it for, how is it working, why is it working, and also what's the difference between your device and the other device. So what I will try to do today is explain a little bit more how is it working, why it is working, and again a little bit the science behind. But as there are a lot of new questions, and it seems that the discovery of Dan started a long time ago, and I think that he explained more and more information, more really creative information, but I think that when people didn't follow Dan since the beginning, it can be a little bit difficult to catch and to put all this information together. And so I will try, I was wondering what can I do to try to make some kind of summary and explaining in a different way, because I know that the more you're explaining the same thing in different ways, the more it could be easier to understand. And so I made some little brainstorming before coming, and in fact, when I start to compare the 2 different approaches of Dan, so one approach is related to numbers. So we have numbers like Tufan explained, a Fibonacci number, and then we have the 1.618, but we have also the factor 2, which is the same as in music, the octave. We have the factor 10. We have now also 369 of Tesla, which leads to 7. We have musical ratio. We have pi, phi, square root, and okay, this is one side. The other side is sacred geometry, and when Dan is explaining all this information, he is using a lot of beautiful words like compression, fractal, collapse, cascade, scalar, longitudinal, and so on. And I think that there is a close relationship between these 3 parts. the relationship could be, in fact, what we are working on. And I didn't make the connection before making this brainstorming. The numbers are related to the left brain. Geometry is linked to the right brain. And what Dan is explaining about bliss, about this compression, and in a way, it's when two brains are communicating together in a special and very beautiful way. So I think that's what Dan is done is really marvelous, because he made the connection between the two brains while introducing in one side 1.618 and on the other side the geometry, well, all the sacred geometry that he explained with his term as a kid. It is closely related to the way that we start working together with Dan, because it was related to heart coherence and also to brainwave coherence. And so it's amazing, because in the last video that Dan has done, he said that we must understand between numerology and physics. It is numerology until it actually predicts something a wave is going to do. And most of the scientists now are saying that math should not be pure science, but also only a tool helping to understand things. And science must also take care of vibrational aspect. And so mathematics can carry information, and geometry can store the information in memory. Now, while continuing this brainstorming, so in the left brain we have numbers, equations, and in right brain we have geometry, but so picture. And also probably that's with the right brain that we are making some visualization. And before coming, I wanted to ask you to make some practice, but we are too close to each other, so I will explain and you can do it afterwards. Just to understand the importance of the right brain. I can show you the practice. You just stand up, you place your 2 feet, and you will not move your 2 feet up to the end of the practice. And then I ask you to point something and to turn as far as you can. And remember where you stop. You come back, and then you close your eyes and you do exactly the same thing, but try to make a complete circle. And then go back with your eye closed. Never move your feet. And then you do the first part of the practice again. And you will see you will go much, much far away. So it is very, very important to be present of what you are doing. And when people are asking me, how can I heal this or this? And my answer is always, please be present. When you are using the device, be present of what you're doing. Be aware, be connected to your body, be connected to your feeling. And in fact, previously in high level of sportmen, they were making a lot of practice, but with their body. Now it's almost over. We are in a new kind of science. It's a turning point. Now they are making visualization of what they cannot do. So tennismen do not repeat the movement. They close their eyes and they do the movement with their brain. Okay, and also Formula 1 pilots, and so it's very, very important. And I really insist on this part, because most of the time the people say, well, the first time that I used it was wow, and then the next time it was it seems less effective. And it's because when you are using a device for the first time, you're perfectly connected to what you are doing. And the next time, you're using like a pill. But we are at a turning point in science now, and we have to think completely differently. So we have to be completely present of what we are doing. Some example, you know, there are mantra which are working fine. Also, placebo can work for something, not for everything, but for something placebo are working. But for a placebo to work, it must be, you must believe it 100% on it. If there is only a tiny part that you're a little bit not believing in it, it will not work. And one of the best examples is that there is a mantra which can help when you burn your skin. And this mantra is working perfectly if when you're repeating the mantra, you believe in it. First thing. Second thing, you must be completely present and connected with the person. You can do it far away, at a distance, but you have to make a perfect connection with the person. Again, better if you make a visualization of the part which is burned. It will again improve the result. But what is very important, if the person do not believe it will help, nothing is happening. So it's really, really important. This is a completely new science which is happening now, and to receive the benefit of this new science, we really have to be aware of what we are doing. Again, another example, Dan is explaining, and we have a beautiful experience this morning also. At sunrise, there is a small ritual which was done this morning, exactly at the time when the sun was rising.
A ceremony?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Please, we should join. It's amazing. And we're going to teach about the physics of Agnihotra. So it's a beautiful experience. Sunrise,
What
sunset.
time tomorrow?
It's a phase conjugate moment.
About 7 o'clock, no, a little bit before 8, I think, today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, when you are present, when the sun is rising, and you make the connection with the sun, with the ceremony which is happening, you will feel something. Cool. But the sun is rising every day.
Quarter to 8.
And if you not make the connection to the sun, you will not feel anything. Again. But I really want to pass this message because it's very, very, very important. It's a new turning point in science. Also, we think that as we are generating beautiful waves, this wave will interact and enter in resonance with the body. But you must be aware that it's much, much easier to disturb a system than to help the system to receive beautiful information and create a beautiful thing with it. One of the example that I wanted to share is that, well, if you take the driver and the horses, if you want to compare with this picture, when the horses are receiving bad waves, well, they will become crazy. One will turn to the right, the other one will turn to the left, and it can break the engine. But if you are sending good waves, good information, there could be much more coherent, one related to the other. And then it can lead to something really beautiful, but you are still the driver. So again, the same thing, you will receive beautiful information, but you have to be connected, and you still have to drive the two horses. I really want to share this picture because it's really a beautiful picture of something which is coherent and a beautiful wave. It's a whale. It's a whale which is singing.
It's also gathering the fish in the spider.
It's crazy, huh?
Floating.
Yeah. When I ask you to make the connection to yourself, to your body, to your feeling, but also it's important sometimes to be connected to the other. And the way that you are connected to the other is through your heart. And the best example here, it can be fishes, but it's also working with birds. These are birds. And you see there, they don't have a mobile phone to say, I turn right, I turn left. No, they are all connected through the heart. And in fact, it's possible also for us to do it. That's something that sportsmen with big teams do not understand. That normally you can have in the same team the best player. If they are not connected to each other, they will not win. When you play theater and you make improvisation, for the best team, all the members of the team should be connected to each other. And there is some practice to help. You ask them to count from 1 to 20, up and down, but each person at a time and not at the same moment. And they are walking, turning in the room, and the first one should say 1, and then another should feel it's time to say 2, and then the next. And the more you will practice, the more you will really be connected to each other. And it can lead to, when you have a perfect team, you put, you close their eyes. One is the leader. They don't touch each other, and they make a way through the room, avoiding the table, and because they are connected to each other, like the birds and the fish. Okay, so what is very, very important, and that's the way that I start working with them, was starting with heart coherence. So again, it's very important to make the connection to yourself, and then to try to have this coherent state of the waves inside the body. And this is the example here about the two waves that we have inside the body related to the blood flow. But I will explain more later. And also about the brain waves, which are measuring with flame in mind. And Dan is always talking about octave and Phi ratio. And also talking about tetracubic in one side and pent on the other side. So tetracubic is octave ratio. Pent is related to the compression of golden ratio. Maybe to understand this part, it should be easier to try to visualize what it's representing, and also to see what's important really about in geometry, spinning, spirals, vortex, and the axis of symmetry. Because when we are talking about the heart, we think it's a pump, but it's not a pump. The heart is much more related to geometry than with the physics of a pump. And it has been discovered that the heart is a double helix spiral, and it can be completely unfold to see exactly the shape of the different muscles which are included in the heart. And it's exactly the same as Babbitt has defined for the shape of the atom. So again, 7 spin outside, 5 spin inside, as Dan is explaining. And the importance of spiral in the sea, not far away from here, Mediterranean, there are 2 vortices coming in opposite ways, and in the middle, when they encounter each other, it is the best way for fishing, because there is the place when there are a lot of plankton, and there's a lot of energy. You have to think about geometry much more than numbers. And so there are different shape of the heart which are explained. You see here starting to unfold it. And also the heart is not a pump but vortices. And these are the vortices which were drawn by Leonardo da Vinci. And this is what we can measure now with the very beautiful devices, medical device that can see what's happening inside. So it's already there when Leonardo da Vinci drew it. And just to show you, it's a beautiful video here, unfolding the heart. Just to show you that it's much more dedicated to geometry than to the physics of a pump.
And there's 7 layers indexed by the 7 arrows of the tetra as well, of that.
Yeah. It's two helix, huh? Yeah. 7 and 5, yes.
Yeah, that.
And so that's what Dan is explaining. 7 spin outside, which is the tetracubic array, which is the stabilizing force. And this is a part of the geometry, and the other part is the 5 spin inside, which is the centripetal force, which is the implosive of the Pent symmetry. Exactly. And so just rapidly, because Tufan has already explained a lot of these things. So there are the 5 Platonic solids, and the 3, well, no, first, again, a beautiful video explaining they're all embedded inside of each other. Another way to display.
Where can I get that animation? It's right below
The link.
Yeah, the link is there. Yeah. It's on YouTube.
Yeah. And the films from here will be available.
Yes. And so the 3 first Platonic solids, so related to the square and to triangles. It's related to octave, so the factor of 2. So in octave in music, when you are using a piano keyboard, so you have the same note coming again and again and again. And just to give you a new way of visualizing it, we will take the square and the triangle, and also the relationship with the circle. The circle will make the links with everything. And if we take a square, put a circle around it, again a square around the circle, and you continue like this, In fact, the second square is 2 times the area of the first one. And it's the same thing for the 2 circles. This can explain this factor 2 of stabilizing. And also, it's the same thing for, with triangles. So this is for the 3 first Platonic solids and the relationship with octave and 2.
So every self-organizing ratio in the tetracube is simply a square root of 2. That's the only ratio in there. And wave mechanics proves that maximizes destructive interference. Therefore, the heterodynes cannot move. They can't collapse together. They're frozen, literally. The snowflake is a hex shadow cube because it's perfect stabilization. So nature uses it to freeze the picture, basically.
Now, maybe another way to explain the phi ratio. Well, this is the way that it's most well known, and also the what we find in Greece and like Tufan explained. And so phi is 1.618, but it's also 1 plus root of 5 divided by 2. And also, as we are using the keyboard with octave, with different notes, what we are doing related to the golden ratio that done as defined by this equation is step by step. Here we are going to another frequency according to the golden ratio. To start, it's easier to start with Leonardo da Vinci with this square and this circle, which is a strange circle because it's not fit inside the square and not fits outside the square. And what he wanted to show is that if you take two square with a circle inside, close to each other, and you apply Pythagoras, you have, well, one side is 1, and then you have root of 5 here. So half root of 5. If you place the circle in the middle and the radius of the circle is half, is 0.5, and so you have root of 5 divided by 2 plus 0.5, which is phi. It's another way to visualize it. Maybe it can help also. And like Dan Mack was talking, this is the chamber of the king in Cheops pyramid. And again, you get the small side is 1, the bigger side is 2, square root of 5 is diagonal, but on the height is exactly square root of 5 divided by 2. So for me, it could be a little bit easier to talk about trigonometry instead of 1.618, and because it can help you to understand while choosing this kind of display. Now, making the relationship between what Leonardo da Vinci has drawn and what I just explained, this is in red. This is the shape, the external shape of the Gizeh pyramid. This is 0.5, okay? Now, this is here, square root of 5 divided by 2. You move it there, and then you move it here. And you have this line here, which is phi, which is exactly the shape of the pyramid of Gizeh. And this makes the relationship, you see. If I extract the circle and the square, you see again. So this circle is created with a relation of golden number. And quite amazing, you see, this is, if you're looking at this shape, in blue, this is the Earth, and here on the top, this is the Moon. And it's really the relationship between the two sides. well, Tufan just explained, but for me it was, they just published with Dan a couple of days ago this beautiful picture explaining the embedding really of the pent inside each other according to golden ratio. So I hope that this part helps you a little bit to understand in another way what we are explaining and what we are trying to explain. And now I will explain a little bit the different rhythm that we have inside our body. I'm talking about rhythm because it's very slow frequency. We have also frequency inside the body related to the different part of the body, but when we are talking of very low frequency, it's easier to talk about rhythm. And one of the rhythm is the pulsation from the heart, and the pulsation from the heart, it's heart rate variation, and it's some kind of sine wave. So when we are our heart with pulses, in fact, is also creating a wave, a sine wave. And this is the electric part of the heart, but we can also measure the liquid part, which is the variation of pressure inside the blood vessels. And this variation of pressure, it's called the Mayer wave, and it's about 6 times per minute, and it's 0.1 hertz, well-known 0.1 hertz, which is used for heart breath coherence.
The famous 10-second breath, which is really where heart math started. They defined it as simply that way.
And so what in our first app we have created to measure the heart coherence, we were measuring on one side the electric part of the heart, which are the heart pulses, but also measuring the variation of the pressure, the blood pressure in the blood vessels. And when we are really in a beautiful coherent state, these two waves superpose to each other. They are perfectly in phase. So you see here, here they are not in phase, and here it's a coherent breath, and the two waves are perfectly synced. And also what we were measuring is the emptiness of the brain ventricles. So the brain ventricles are here in blue, and here, well, it's too fast. What you see, each flash that you see here, it's about 1 minute. But it's a pump which is inside your brain, and this pump is linked to your sacrocranial wave. And so in the latest version of Flame in Mind, we can make a recording of the brain waves, but also a recording of the heart rate. And when you are really in a perfect coherent state, there is a beautiful relationship between what we are measuring in the brain and the heart. So the very low rhythm of the two, so of the brain and of the heart, are in sync. And we can measure it with the latest version of the app. Again, the more you are in a complex system, the more the frequency will be a lower frequency. So the cells are vibrating in the higher frequency than the organs and the systems in the organism, and that's the reason why we are measuring the different rhythm inside the body, which are very low. So 6 times per minute, 1 time per minute. And this was explained by Dardick also. Now, the body frequencies. So we have explained the rhythm. Now, in the different, in the in the different part of the body, you will find different kind of frequencies, and there are a lot of different searchers who try to understand what's happening and how to measure and how to interact with the body. So some are saying it's musical notes related to the chakra, and it's working. You can use tuning forks to enter in resonance with different parts of the body. Another one is stomatists who measure the ear with hearing test. You can make the relationship between the hearing curves and what's happening in the body, and if there is a peak or a gap in the shape of the curve, you can say there is some trouble in some different part of the body. And more recently, Stéphane Cardinaux and Catherine and Martin have made a beautiful research with their teams, and they were every month or every week I think, during 1 year, they were sending information in a room, so frequency in a room, and they were asking all the students, what do you feel and where do you feel? And they can create really a beautiful map of all the frequency inside the body, from the tooth up to the top of the head, and also in the upper chakra. And in fact, there is a big question. Well, there was a big question for me, because there was a 10 factor between what Tomatis has found, and it was really working fine, what Tomatis has found, and also what Stéphane Cardinaux and Osher has found. And also, this 10 factor is also appearing in two different ways. And my question was that if it's true, normally, if we make a voice analysis, as in the voice, you can find all the frequencies which are inside your body. The best proof is then when you're afraid of something or disturbed by something, your voice is changing. You cannot send some. If you have a big trouble in your stomach and a big nose in your stomach, you cannot say exactly. Some frequency cannot come out of your body. And so I say, okay, if it's really true that there is this 10 factor in the frequency of the body, we should find it also in a voice analysis. So what I have done, as I was making a lot of voice analysis in this time, I took a person with a very big gap in. You see, there. Normally, if it's full of frequency, it's following the blue line. But you see here, there is a lot of gap, a lot of missing frequencies, and what I have done is to enlarge a part of the spectrum and superpose the two parts of the spectrum. So one part is from 100 to 1000, and the other part is from 100 up to 10,000. So we have this 10 factor. And in fact, it's amazing, because the missing part, you see, are exactly the same with the 10 factor. So this 10 factor is really something, we don't understand why, but it's really something which is working like this in our body.
Well, DNA has 10-sided symmetry because of golden ratio.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, beautiful. So we had to enter in resonance with the body. We had to decide what to choose. And for us, it was the approach of Stéphane Cardinaux and Catherine Anne Martin was very nice. And with our device, with our plasma device, plasma fire, we have made some tests with different, very sensitive person and some blind tests. So we were sending a frequency of a chakra, and we were asking the person, where do you feel? Do you feel something, and where do you feel? And we have a very, very beautiful correspondence between the frequency we are sending with Stéphane and the feeling of the person. So that's the reason why we are using in our app to enter in resonance with the body. We are using this map of frequency. What is very interesting also, and that's also the reason why we are using this map of frequency, is that when we take the equation of Dan, starting at Planck length, and we go up and up and up with golden ratio, it's amazing because the result of Dan equation fits almost perfectly the different frequencies of the chakra. And also, Dan equation fits perfectly the different things that we have inside our body. The respiration of the child, the respiration of the adult, the sacrocranial wave, the frequency of the liquid of the brain ventricles, a lot of things also are fitting the Dan equation. Okay, still. Now, the different way that we can use to interact with the body, and this is what we are choosing, is that there are two things, two kind of frequency inside the body. One side, the frequency that I just showed, the map of frequency with the chakra frequency, and on the other side, there are the rhythm inside the body, the blood pressure rhythm, the emptiness of the brain ventricles. And so what we are doing is to use these two information at the same time. So if we want to send information to the body, to enter in resonance with a part of the body, what we are doing is, first of all, well, let's say we want to enter in resonance with the stomach, we will choose the frequency of the stomach. But inside the matrix of the cascade of Dan, okay? So we will not use a single frequency. It will always be inside the matrix of frequency related to Dan equation. So this is one way.
Planck fire.
Planck fire. Or Schumann also.
Which is the same.
Yeah, which is the same. So this is one part of the information. And the other part of the information is try to also use the rhythm which are inside the body. And we are using the rhythm inside the body because the body knows this rhythm. And so when we are sending information according to this rhythm, the body say, oh, what is it? I know it. So I have to do something with it. And the way that we have found to use these two different information is to use two transducers. So that's the reason why that's the reason why we are using two plasma balls, or we are using two piezo devices. Because with these two devices, what we can do, we can send, of course, the frequency of the stomach, for example, but also make a movement between these two transducers, and this movement will be done according to the rhythm which are inside the body. And what we are doing to go again one step forward, is that there are different kind of rhythm inside the body. So the first one and the well-known is 0.1 Hertz, which is the variation of the blood pressure. And the next one is the emptiness of the brain ventricles. And as I explained, I think here, okay, they're all linked to Dunn equation and golden ratio. So what we are doing, we are making using the first rhythm and then go down to the next level, go down to the next level. So start at 0.1, which is the blood pressure, and then we go down to the emptiness of the brain ventricles, which are three kind of rhythm of the brain ventricles. And so go down and down, and again it's creating some kind of compression, which improve the effect of the device and the frequency we are sending.
You could say that the spinal liquid pump is driving a phonon, and the ventricle horns, the liquid is driven by that phonon. That's Bentov proved, and Patrick took that further. What he's calling the emptiness of the ventricle is actually a kind of still point by a phonon implosion, driving it's the draining of the ventricle, which you say is the climax in a way. It's the physics of bliss there is profoundly implicated.
5 minutes?
Take 10
10?
minutes.
Okay. So the different kind, just to explain the different kind of transducers that we are using. So the first one is, and that's how we start, with binaural beats with sounds. So headphones, and so creating a movement between the left and the right brain. So please use a beautiful headphones with cables. Don't use iPods, because you will lose a big part of the harmonics. Well, and also, unfortunately for now, most of the time we are not listening anymore to music. We are much more listening to rhythm than music, because when you are watching on YouTube or Spotify, it's not really music anymore. And if you want, on Monday I can really share you real music, and I will make you cry. Really. Really.
You don't like auto-tune?
Really. And the best example that I've seen, this is John Bass, probably one of the most beautiful voice with a lot of harmonics. I think she's the best. And it's incredible because it's a recent picture, and she's still working with a cable with her mic and a cable with, because if she do not use this, she's losing part of her harmonics. So please use the best devices you can.
Could you just explain why doing digital, how is it changing? You're only getting the rhythm. Is it because it clips?
Yes.
In other words, digital clips? It
Yes.
doesn't, it creates a square wave.
Well, also the sampling rate dictates the frequency response.
Yeah, what I can make the experience on Monday while showing the different device, and in fact I have digital music with me, but with the quality of the mixing table of the recording, which is very, very high frequency. But most of the time, the music we are listening doesn't have this high frequency rate of sampling. And so you are losing a big part of the harmonics. Okay, so related to what Dan was explaining, so sound, it's a longitudinal wave. So it's something which is compressing the air. And it's possible also to listen sound, to use vibration. So it's special headset which are vibrating device, which are entering directly in resonance with the sensor which are inside your ear. And this is very interesting because it's activating the internal ear directly, short-circuiting the tympanum. And also it's, you see all these small air are inside a bone. And so this vibration, and it will be the next thing that I will explain, are also compressing the bones. So you have also a piezoelectric effect.
So don't put those AirPods in your ear, right?
No, it's better not.
Yeah.
And so the second one, and this is the latest device that we have created. It's possible also to use a piezo, and the piezo is a property of crystal. So if you compress the crystal, it will produce electricity, and if you send the electricity to the crystal, it will compress or the crystal. And as we have a lot of bones inside the body, it's interesting. And it's interesting to mix and to alternate the different transducer. And so there is electricity and magnetism. And what is very interesting here is that, well, there are electricity coming from the small coil that we are using, electricity coming from the plasma ball, but also electricity coming, it's crazy, coming from the LEDs. And you have to be very careful from the pollution of the LEDs. It's very, very strong. You cannot imagine how strong it can be.
LEDs are dangerous.
Yeah, because LEDs are not dangerous if you are using them on batteries. But when you are using them with a power supply, the power supply is to create, to transform the alternative current in DC. And they are not doing it in a beautiful way. So it's a lot of, really a lot of very bad frequencies coming.
Is that because when you bridge rectify it, it's the pulse of the AC is embedded into the DC current when you use a power,
Yes, but that also, but the very pollution, electrical pollution being made by the transformer and the rectifier, make their own pollution. So
Yeah,
three levels.
because there, at the beginning they were using transformer,
Yes, sir.
but now it's all electronics, and they cut to reduce, and this is very high frequency,
Well,
very
it's
bad,
everywhere.
very
It's a
bad.
nightmare.
Yeah. And so we have also, so there is voltage can be measured out from the plasma or from the coil, but also magnetism can be measured. And this can be done very easily, and I will show in the next time, with a microphone, because the microphone is one of the simplest way to measure. I was talking about LEDs, but now there are a lot of LEDs on the speedway. And in Belgium, they change all the light in the speedway recently, not to put the light on because you have to reduce
Optical pollution.
but they are there for something else. So
And so basically, that light destroys attention span.
it could. And well, the reason why I've shown David Bowie there is that you can
AI David Bowie.
you can go to, if you want to watch the video, you can go on the web, it's available. But he's quite young there, and he's already explaining at this moment what is the black noise. And the black noise is something which is not most of the time not available for you to receive, but which is there. And even at this time, they were using this black noise, some kind it's some kind of hypnotic state, and then you come back to listen to the music or and he's explaining, he's using that at this time. And these are, and that I will finish with this, these are two videos that I've seen on the web recently. One of them is, most of the time they're a video explaining you that we are a very strange period and something are wrong, but they don't tell you it's wrong, and they superpose in the video some music. So when you're listening and watching a video with explaining things, but with music, forget it. Because the music is there to send information and to change your mind. And this is one here, it's a video explaining what Karl Marx has done. But the whole time of the video, it's always the same music notes which are repeated. And here it's very easy, you can find it. So you see, this is every 10 seconds, every 7 seconds, it's exactly the same shape which is repeated through the whole video. And it's related to the frequency of your chakra. And it's turning and turning and turning. And another one, much more recently, and was explaining about monkeypox jab. And they're telling you, be careful, don't do it. And in fact, during the whole video, again, different kind of frequency and the rhythm, exactly the same kind of rhythm, 7 seconds. And if you don't pay attention, you're fixed and listen to it. But it's brainwashing. So when you really want to watch some kind of information, the information do not need music.
It's real.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful, Patrick. Right? To
Okay.
be continued, right?
So
Yes, tomorrow. Oh, yeah.
on the other slide, you had a 3 hertz. Remember that? On the 3 hertz frequency on the vibration side? I was wondering why you used 3 and not 5 or something like that. And if 7 is brainwashing people, like...
No, it's not hertz. It's not hertz. It's
Yeah. No, right,
it's
right, right.
second. It's second.
Yeah.
7 seconds.
Right, 7
Every
seconds.
second is turning.
Right. Is there a different, would you say like 5 would be like a release seconds? You know, if, let's say someone's...
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
But if it's there, it
Yeah.
should do something. But
Sure.
no.
Basically, these are all fractionating in
Yes.
this case, which
Right.
is the issue.
Well, I'm just saying like would a...
But you know,
5 seconds.
7 seconds. It's almost. You know, there are. I just explained there are some rhythm.
Right.
So one well known is 0.1 hertz, which is 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
So
Like a 5,
well,
that's what I was
yeah.
asking, right.
So if they change it a little,
I wouldn't, 5 seconds is not practical.
yeah.
Okay.
If they change it, it's a purpose.
Yeah.
So your body will receive something that doesn't correspond to.
Yes, yes. No, I know how they use 7 as a trap, 7 days a week, 7 phone numbers, 7 planets. Yeah, right.
So,
Maybe.
Patrick, to be continued.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.